Tonight. Can we have Cecilia Branch come forward, please? Cecilia Branch is entering the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame tonight as an athlete, and a mighty fine one. But before we look at the stats and measure her greatness on the track, let's look at Cecilia Branch as an athlete who cares as much about being considerate as she does about being first to the tape. Let's go back to 1976. It's a March evening. Cecilia's coach, Kathy Campbell, arrives home feeling a bit disappointed because her protege failed to show for an early morning practice. But there's a note taped to her door, and it reads, "If you're mad at me, please don't be. When I woke up this morning, I felt really sick. Plus, I woke up during the night not feeling tip-top, and that's why I didn't show for practice this morning. I would like to talk to you because not a thing is going right. Help me, big sister, I need you. Love, sis. P.S. I want to train today." And that tells you more about Cecilia Branch than all of the record times she set. 65, by the way, in high school track in Nova Scotia alone. Campbell was her coach in those formative years and said recently that Cecilia was an incredible athlete. I quote, "It's an honor to coach someone like that once in your life. With women in sport, the problem is often self-esteem and confidence. Most don't have it, but not Cecilia." Campbell recalls seeing Cecilia run in 1970 when both girls, Campbell was 17 and Cecilia 13 at the time, were competing at the Halifax Armories. Neither had a coach. Once again, here's Campbell. She says, "Cecilia was never shy, and she came up to me after one of her winning efforts in a younger age group. I congratulated her on her win, and she thanked me, but when I asked her her time, she didn't know. I told her a win didn't matter if she wasn't getting better. She went away mad, but came back later and told me her time." And that started a friendship that still exists today, probably as strong as ever. It carried through Dalhousie University, where Cecilia attended 1 year and joined the track team, which Campbell was helping coach. Campbell at the time was studying for a master's in phys ed. A couple of years earlier, when Campbell was an undergrad, tests were done on each phys ed student. And Campbell says, Joni Seelig Langley and I registered a 270 in a power test, the highest for women. At age 14, Cecilia was tested and got a 350. As high as the highest man in phys ed. Campbell, the coach, and Branch, the athlete, dedicated themselves to training, despite meager facilities in those days of the early 1970s. There was no indoor training, so the pair had to be innovative in often nasty conditions. They trained at Point Pleasant Park, specifically on hills at Martello Tower, and often with one on the other's back. Campbell recalls would often get so nauseated and exhausted that prior to the session we'd gather pebbles and place them in two piles, moving stones from one to the other upon completion of a set. We did 40 sets, and if we didn't keep an accurate count by using the stones, we'd lose count after 3. We even did squats with each other on our shoulders with weights in our hands, since the squat bar with weights on it was very painful on the back. And the Branch-Campbell connection remains. Cecilia, still running and setting records in masters events, a mother of 2 and a high school phys ed teacher in Ottawa, speaks regularly to her coach about everything from track to training to much else in life. Cecilia recalls the days at the old Dalhousie University rink, which had a narrow walkway with room for 2 hurdles along what could be called a concourse. Cecilia was training for the Maple Leaf Indoor Games in Toronto, a very formal event with officials in tuxedos. Coach Campbell would sit on the floor holding starting blocks with her feet and watching Cecilia run the 2 hurdles. Now there are 5 in an indoor 60 event, before slamming her right shoulder into the end wall, which she would hit prior to running up the stairwell at the end of the walkway. Not very close to a competitive situation. Nonetheless, it turned Cecilia Branch into a record-setting athlete. The Cecilia Branch in the record book attended St. Patrick's High School in Halifax, where she was named Outstanding Athlete in the school's 20-year history in 1975. At age 16 in 1972, she won a silver medal in Canada Games pentathlon and a bronze in the 100-meter hurdles at the National Senior Track and Field Championships. She earned a full-track scholarship to the University of Nevada at Las Vegas, where she was twice named Outstanding Track and Field Performer and was named All-American once during her 4-year career between 1976 and 1980. Cecilia placed 5th in the hurdles at the 1979 Pan American Games, qualified for the Canadian Olympic team in 1980, but never competed because of the boycott. After a brief 2-year retirement, she came back to win gold again at Canadian Interregionals and at both the Quebec and Ontario Track and Field Championships. To earn a living, she became an off-season conditioning and strength coach with the Ottawa Rough Riders and national elite athletes. She formed her own company, designing, manufacturing, and then selling athletic wear from a downtown Ottawa storefront. Now 44, Cecilia Branch is a woman who has said, "It's hard to pinpoint what makes a person determined to be successful. I guess it's the realization that if you work really hard, success will eventually come to you. Most successful athletes, and other people too, are fighters. They're not lazy. They are dedicated and always striving to be the best." And that certainly describes Cecilia Branch, talented, confident, and unafraid, and our newest member to the Nova Scotia Sport Hall of Fame. I'd like to call the presenters to the stage. Representing sponsor Diet Coke is Joel Irvin, Vice President of Coca-Cola Limited and a Hall of Fame board member. Now, here's a great Cecilia story. Joel Irvin's wife, Annette, was a babysitter for Cecilia many years ago. Cecilia's mom paid 50 cents an hour in those days, double the going rate, and here's why. Annette settles in for babysitting and Cecilia disappears. Annette looks through the house and finally goes outside, and there sitting on the roof is Cecilia. And Annette told me tonight that this was the first and only time she ever babysitted. Cecilia, she drove her from the profession. So if Joel could come up, and as well, let's have Kathy Campbell, Cecilia's coach, come up and present plaque and pin. That was great. Now, just before we chat, I just wanted to read this to you, okay? Please find my congratulatory note for Cecilia. It has been a privilege for Adidas to have been able to support you throughout your career. It takes tremendous passion and dedication to achieve the success that you have. Your commitment to the sport is to be commended. Sincere congratulations, Mike Melanson, Territory Manager, Sales and Marketing for Adidas Canada. So this obviously is a special night for you for many reasons, and we talked earlier and you said it's real special for one in particular.
Yes, this is my first time, if I can hold this, that'd be great. This is my first time to come back to Nova Scotia and to say thank you to all the great people of Nova Scotia, and that I would not have been as successful if it wasn't for my family.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
I try it.
The Mohawks were up here for 10 minutes. Don't worry about it.
I could try to do this in 3 minutes.
No, you're good. You're good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It wasn't for my family, my mom and my father, George Branch, who was a big contributor to my career, and my sister, who was always there from the officiating, and Kathy Campbell, of course. And yes, we did do many of those Martello Tower Hills. God love us. But anyways, I would really like to take this opportunity to say thank you very much for the people of Nova Scotia, for the people of track and field in Nova Scotia, and especially to the teachers of St. Patrick's High School, and for my phys ed teacher in St. Agnes, who steered me in the right direction and so the nuns wouldn't get so mad at me.
Did they find you on the roof?
No, but I went to the office because I was chasing the boys.
Yeah, nuns frown on that.
I'm sure they thought I was having sex in grade 2.
Mr. Connolly, cover your ears, okay?
But I like to say thank you very much to Wayne Kirk, who was instrumental. Can't even talk.
He was important.
He was very important
Yeah.
in my career and always gave me encouragement. To the teachers that always saw me fly in and fly out of St. Pat's, I really thank you very much for your many hours of tutoring me through math and through history and definitely chemistry. And also too, I don't know if the Barkoses are here, and Brian Langley is, and Bobby Book, and all you guys have been incredibly supportive to me. And yes, I would not have been as successful if it wasn't for you guys, and I thank you very much.
All right, that is beautifully said. Cecilia Branch.